Hello, divine man. Hello, divine woman. And welcome to this safe space. Before we hop into the topic for today, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and like this video. If something touches you, if you can relate to anything that's been shared, and go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date with any new videos that I have coming out, in addition to, just anything in general. Stay caught up. Um, so if you First and foremost, let me just acknowledge everybody who is listening. I really appreciate you. I'm starting to see that the content that I'm putting out there is getting listened to. And so thank you, divine man. Thank you, divine woman, for just supporting me in every way. Today I want to talk about overthinking and how that affects our perspective. And the best way I can do this, of course, is via my life. So I hope you're ready. And let me just say, if we're related, if you're listening to me, if you're listening to this and you're related to me, this, just understand. Don't take it personal. Please don't take it personal. So I have a very diverse family, a very diverse heritage, okay? My family is originally from Haiti, and the family members that are closer to my age, we're the first generation to be in the States, right? Like our parents were born in Haiti or like Canada or something, some of them. And no, lying. Mostly everybody was born in Haiti, grew up in Haiti, and then came over here when they were young adults or teenagers. And then the members of my family that are closer to my age were born in the States, right? Or they came here when they were very young. So we're basically the first generation in the United States of America. And so even though were born and grew up in the States, the culture at home was very Haitian. I don't know if that was a better way to say that, but we grew up in the Haitian culture, like church, everything. The typical Haitian Baptist church. That's how I grew up. And for me personally, I never really I understand American culture, but a lot of the stuff that I learned at school. You don't learn everything at school. If you have not seen my shorts, then yeah, you're missing out. But you do not learn everything in school. And so, that was the culture that I grew up in. And, from the outside looking in, it can come off as very, very straightforward is the word that I'm going to use. And so for me, I'm a very straightforward individual on most things. And I'm not gonna lie, at times it was challenging, because sometimes you don't want to hear about yourself. Sometimes it's just, yo, like, can we just chill, and I I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So basically our culture is very, you know, our culture is very straightforward and it can be challenging to deal with at times. And so growing up, that was my life, right? Where I was, I guess you said I was a pastor's daughter, and I was expected to I was like I know you know what I'm trying to say. Like I was like the poster child, if you will. I was expected to act a certain way. I was expected to be a certain way. I was expected to show up a specific way because of that title. And so for me, it was a bit challenging, especially in my younger years, because, I noticed there were needs that I had that, looking back now, of course, I noticed there were needs that I had that I felt were not being met. And, as I got older and I started diving into the feelings of my childhood, I kind of have a better understanding, which is what I want to share with you and hope, like it could provide some insight on anything that you may kind of be going through. And so, what I mean as far as my needs were not being met, like I lived, we like, basically, I'm from Miami, okay? I'm like from Miramar, but Miami, for most people, that's where it's at. That's all they know. And so, um, with the way things were set up, my family's they doing what they gotta do to bring the money in. They doing what they gotta do to make sure the church is all right. And for me, growing up for years, decades even, I felt as if I was just supposed to show up and just, like just like a Stepford wife, okay? Like it's not that bad. I promise it's not that bad. But like in my mind, this is how it is. I was expected to be kind of like a Stepford wife, a Stepford daughter, if you will, and show up, making good grades, playing the piano, behaving and performing when I need to. I felt like I needed to be like the Stepford wife. Like I had to show up in the best way possible. And that put pressure on me because I am only human, I'm not a robot. I can't be hypnotized to act that way. And so for me that showed up, I was kind of rebellious. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little rebellious, because it was like I needed like an outlet. And, there were other things that I may talk about at a later time. But um like I felt like this pressure to perform as this quote unquote perfect individual. But if you have grown up in church or anything, they be like the pastor's kids be the worst kids. Um, let's take the S at the end. Let's take the S off at the end of the sentence. Uh, at the end of the word. And for me, for the longest, that's how I felt. And it doesn't help that I think a lot. I am an overthinker. I'm the type of person, if something happens, I'm going to figure it out, but the way I figure it out is I have to detach myself from the situation and work towards seeing, a different a different perspective on things. And from me looking out, that's me trying to find a solution, me trying to figure things out, me trying to get to the bottom of things and be able to address it from a different perspective because that's how I was raised. Everybody was figuring things out together. But for me, because everybody was so busy, taking care of responsibilities, school, work, church, for me, like that's how I learned to find the solutions that I needed. And so I can't say that every decision I made was the best because again, I was a child. But that was my that was the experiences that I had growing up. And so when I became an adult, that shit did not change. That shit did not change. Yo, dope, man. Oh Lord, I will say it has definitely shown up in this past year and a half where a situation comes up, something happens, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck I need to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and take some time away. I need to figure this out. Not realizing from the outside looking in, it's you getting shut out. It's you just, ugh. So for anybody who has felt like that, I truly apologize because I just apologize. I basically just told you why I did what I did. So I apologize. And so, right, as time is going on, I'm learning that and this might sound silly to y'all, but I'm learning that overthinking is not a good thing. There's a certain point in time where if the thoughts just keep coming, you have to learn to shut them off. Cause baby, listen. I've never felt like I'm a creative individual, but man, the stories that run through my head, I'm like, holy smokes, I am creative as hell. So I'm like learning that overthinking is you're either focused too much on the past, which can create depression, or you're too focused on the future, which can create anxiety, and we want to avoid that. Overthinking leads to that stuff. Like, you'll get yourself in a rabbit hole before you even notice it, and it's like, for why do that to yourself? Because, like, if I'm completely transparent, if I am completely transparent, I have broken my own heart several times because of the stories I've put in my head. And it sounds crazy, but if you know, you know. That is not a way to live, because at the end of the day, when you look back on your life, you're like, holy smokes. A lot of the stuff that I experienced was literally just in my head. And we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to live life to the fullest. We all deserve to have meaningful connections. And so the reason why I bring this up is because there was an event, down in Miami with my family. And I kid you not, like, once I found out about the event, mind you, this is like a month in advance, I found out. I was like in my head, I'm like, what is gonna happen? Da 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 da. Like, I was creating so many different stories in my head. It was crazy. Like, I literally lost track of time. It got to the point I have my cousin who I know be listening. Shout out to you, cuzzo. uh, who reached out to me and was like, "Oh, are you going to this event?" And I'm like, "Wait, that's tomorrow." Ah, dang. So I'm over here getting myself together. And then, like, the whole time in my head, I'm having these stories of what's gonna happen. My mind was running crazy. And it got to the point where I was like, yo, what the heck? And then I did something I had not done in a long time. I stopped those thoughts. I deemed them intrusive and I stopped them. And that sounds crazy, right? Like, why would you not do that? But sometimes you just get so caught up, you don't think about stuff like that. So I did that. And by doing that, I was able to be more in the moment. I was able to allow healing to happen that I never knew I never knew needed to happen. And I got down. I got to my hometown. I saw my family. It was freaking amazing. Oh my gosh, it wasn't a long time, but it was a good time. And I'm just like, I almost missed out on this experience of seeing, my brother be ordained as a pastor because I was in my head. I almost missed out on seeing all these people that I grew up with, my loved ones, because of stories and fears that were established in my head. Right. And so I look back and, I think about the childhood that I had with my brothers and how we grew together and how we were so close. And I'm just like, look at y'all now, like, look at all of us now. We've grown so much. And I just wanted to, if you hear that little cheer in my voice, is because I'm finally starting to realize the difference in the stories that I've been telling myself versus reality. Although everybody is busy doing what they need to do to support the people that depend on them, that does not mean love is not there. That does not mean that I've been tossed to the side. That means that they're making life changing decisions for other people to make this world a better place. And that when the time is right, we will connect. And, even if it's just for a few minutes, those few minutes, that's what defines, like the best moments in life, right? It's the small things that count. And so I'm going to pause this here and I'm going to continue in the second part. But if you've listened up until now, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next chapter.